All right, we have special guest Brian Brewer with us today. It's really an honor. Brian honestly really motivated me from early on in my career, and it's been a blessing actually just following him in his progress. Seven-figure earner, and he's here to dump all kinds of value on us today. It's going to be a great interview. So let's go ahead and invite Brian Brewer into the show. What's up, Brian?
Hey, what's going on, Eric? What's going on, everybody who's watching, tuning in live, watching the replay? Good to see everybody. Good to see you, Eric. Thanks for having me on.
100%, brother. And if you guys are catching this on the replay, would you please put hashtag replay? And if you're catching it live, hashtag live. And be sure to share this because this is going to be powerful, guys. So yeah, Brian, man. So tell us about what happened today. Let's just go on about what happened in your morning. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so this morning, I know I have this coming up. It's 11 o'clock Central here in Texas. So I wasn't sure if I was going to go into the office, which I just got a new office because the kids are going to be out of school soon, or if I was going to do it from home. But regardless, my wife and I decided to go for a walk, take our dog for a walk this morning after we dropped the kids off at school. And we're going to do a long walk today. We're going to do 2 miles and then 2 miles. So we went 2 miles out and then we're going to walk 2 miles home. Well, just as we make the turn, so we've already walked 2 miles, we're starting to come home. I get this. I see this lady up ahead of us. She's coming the other way on the walking trail, and she's got this Cocker Spaniel. And I wish it was like a pit bull or something. When you hear the rest of the story, you'll understand why. But she comes at us, and as we're getting closer, I guess she pulls the dog off to the side of the trail, like into the grass. I'm like, okay, this dog probably is just crazy or whatever. So right as we get even with this lady and her dog, I pull my dog over to the left side, and my wife is to the left of the dog. And as soon as we get even with that dog comes after us. And I don't know if she was trying to go after my dog, but she caught me right on the leg. And I'm telling you, man, I don't want to get too graphic here, but I went to urgent care because it was one of those like lacerations on the inner thigh where the meat's hanging out and stuff like that, and the blood's dripping down. Man. So yeah, it was pretty wild. So I Erica texted, man, I'm at the urgent care right now. I think I should be good for 11 o'clock Central still, but I'll keep you posted. And long story short, they took good care of me there. I found out that they don't stitch up dog bites because of all the potential bacteria. They would like to keep them open, but I am all bandaged up, and here we are ready to hopefully bring some value, share some knowledge, and help people out today.
Absolutely. The reason why I wanted to bring that up is because doesn't matter what we go through. Like, we all have our struggles, right? We have these roadblocks and things coming up that may advance us in life. But if one little thing happens, a lot of times, as when I first started out, every little hiccup I had, it was like a roadblock for me, right? And I would just kind of use that as an excuse not to move forward, right? And so I just want to bring that up right now. You got attacked by a dog today, went to urgent care, and you're still here on this meeting, bro. Hats off to you, man. You're about it. You're about business. So Brian, yeah, 100%, bro. It's great to have you on here, man. So let's hear of where your kind of journey started. I have your about you that you sent me, and it's extensive, right?
Yeah.
So let's just get a little rough draft of when you first started in this industry and kind of what exposed you to wanting to take advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah, I'll try to give you the short version because I have been doing this coming up on 10 years now. So there's been a lot of bumps in the road and a lot of ups and downs, and luckily, through perseverance, there's been some pretty significant success as well, which is great. But yeah, I started in 2012, and at the time we were living in San Diego. I was working in the restaurant business. I was waiting tables at a nice restaurant in San Diego, but I went from managing restaurants to waiting tables because we were expecting our first child, and restaurant managers, they just work all the time, and when they're not working, they're on call. So I didn't want to be in that role of responsibility, with our first child coming. So I went to waiting tables at a real nice restaurant in San Diego, right on the bay there. And after our daughter was born, it kind of hit me okay, I was doing good for a server, making 60, 70 a year, which is not bad for someone waiting tables. But I was working 6 days a week minimum. Sometimes I was working doubles. If I wasn't working a double, I would leave at 2 o'clock, and I wouldn't get home until 1 o'clock in the morning. So 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 1 o'clock in the morning. And, you got to sleep sometime too. So it's I just don't have time to be with my family. And, with expensive San Diego rent and, diapers and all this stuff that comes along, it's just we weren't poor, but we just didn't have a whole lot at the end of the month. It was like we were starting from scratch every week, it seemed like. So I was like, I got to figure something out. And I did the search, man. How do you make money online? Right? Like it's so cliche, but that's it. Like that was my first good idea. It's like, all right, well, let's Google it. And this was before you're exposed to all the TikToks and Instagram reels and stuff like that. So it was kind of like a fact-finding mission. That there was no one just like throwing it out there. Here's what you got to do. So I looked around and saw different opportunities and realized like I didn't have a whole lot of extra time. So there were certain business models that were just automatically pulled off the table. And like I said, we were pretty much starting back at zero, it seemed like, every week. So it's not like I had, $10,000 to invest in inventory or, to launch a physical product or anything. So I was like, I don't have any good ideas. And that's when I came across affiliate marketing. Like, okay, this makes sense. I can work, if I got an hour a day, I can work an hour a day. I can build up content that would kind of work for me 24/7, and I wouldn't have to worry about fulfillment. I was like, okay, cool. So it might take me a little bit longer than people who have 5 hours a day to devote to this, but at least the time I'm investing isn't going to bring on more time with fulfillment, right? So that's what affiliate marketing made sense. And I just started with creating product review blogs. Like that was my first skill that I learned, like how to create a blog, how to build a WordPress site, how to get backlinks, right? All those things that go into SEO, search engine optimization, for those who maybe aren't familiar with that yet. And that was my great idea. I created niche product review blogs. The first one was around basically like magnesium supplements and all the things that go along with that, calcium supplements and stuff like that. And basically I would do my research, create blog posts that talked about the pros and cons of taking it or reviewing certain ones. And then basically everything linked over to Amazon. I leveraged Amazon's affiliate program. So after like 6, 7, 8 months, I finally got a page that was starting to get a little bit of traffic. And, I started making some commissions. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. There's definitely potential here. Learned a couple of things during that first 6, 8 months. First of all, blogging is really, really tough because when you don't know what you're doing, it takes a long time to get feedback to see if you're doing the right thing, right? Because pages aren't going to rank instantly. So you gotta kind of have faith and build a page with what you think will work, and then wait 6 months to see if it ranks. And then only then can you get feedback and then adjust if necessary. And I always say, like, that's the biggest benefit of like TikTok now, is not that you can go and make millions overnight. It's that you can get that feedback so quickly. Right. Hey, if you're getting traffic, but you're not getting leads, maybe your messaging's wrong. If you're getting clicks over to your website, but you're not getting opt-ins, okay, well, maybe you got to tweak your copy on your website, and all that stuff. You get feedback super fast. So that's a benefit of the way things are going now. But back to the blogging, I created one. First one I got up to about $600 a month, and they say passive income, but here I am writing articles at every free time. So it's like, okay, it's cool, but I don't think. The second thing I learned was I chose like what I thought was a good opportunity because it was like a underserved market. But what I realized is it was an underserved market because there wasn't a whole lot of money to be made. So I learned from my mistakes and created blogs that were more search traffic, right? And I got one up to about maybe 2,200 a month after another 18 months of work. And I was like, this is great. But now I have 2 jobs. Right. So if I'm making, like 20, 30,000 in addition to the 60, 70, I was making I'm making 6 figures. So it's cool now, but I'm just working even more than ever. And I see no path to scale. So a bunch of things happened, tried some drop shipping stuff, and used one of my blogs to drive traffic to my drop shipping site, right? Instead of sending it over to Amazon with the affiliate link, I figured I'd create a drop shipping store around this niche product review blog, take the free traffic and increase my margins, go from like 3% commissions to 40% margins. And it worked a little bit. But the problem is now I was dealing with fulfillment and I lost the trust associated with Amazon. So my conversion rate went way down because they go over to this random website that's not Amazon. People are like, I'm not going to buy from this. Right. I don't know. I was like, you know what? All right. Take what you've learned, understand that blogging is super slow, and then also understand that you have to go where the market, like you got to go where there's attention. You got to go where there's money being spent and leverage other products that already have the trust. That was a big one. So at that time we were living in Dallas. Now I was still waiting tables, but I waited on Alex Becker, and I don't know if you know who Alex Becker is, but he's like, I mean, he was like one of the OGs of info products. I mean, he's done $20 million selling products, info products, and he's just been around for a long time. So I waited on him, and I just got to know him a little bit, and he really made me realize that I needed to just forget about blogging and go over to YouTube,
Right.
which was the opportunity at the time, which obviously still is, but there wasn't like TikTok yet. Basically, I needed to put my face out there and become a brand, and I needed to really be in the area or arena where people were making money, and that was in the make money space, the business opportunity. So I was like, okay, cool, that makes sense. Sold the blogs, luckily, got some decent money for them, made like 30-40 grand off selling those blogs that I had. So that was like surprising and a huge win. But basically I was back to square one. Like I had nothing now. I created all the blogs anonymously. So I sold all my email lists, all the socials, obviously all the ranking content. So here I am, 2016, back at zero. I was like, all right, sure, whatever. Let's figure something out. And my big idea at the time was like, okay, I'll create a drop shipping course. Right. Because I knew a little bit about drop shipping. There was starting to be a lot of interest in it. And I was like, okay, I'll create a course. So that's what I did. I created a course that taught people how to set up their Shopify store and, get products on there and how to fulfill them and how to run their first Facebook ad and all that stuff. And I created this course. It took me a couple weeks to create. And then when I had it done, I was like, oh, shoot, who am I going to sell it to? I don't have an audience. Like, who's going to buy this? No one knows who I am. So I was like, all right, let's start thinking more practically. Let's start thinking outside the box. I was like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I can get affiliate commissions from Shopify. So I got my Shopify links in there. I can get affiliate commissions from other Facebook ads courses that teach more advanced strategies that I didn't teach in this course. I could get affiliate commissions from like Spy Software that helped you locate which product opportunities we're doing well. Right. Say, okay, let's put all these affiliate links in this course. Let's give it away for free. And let's start creating little mini 2 to 5 minute micro trainings on YouTube. And then obviously refer people back to the free course. And it worked. I mean, it just absolutely took off. I was giving away more free value than everybody else in the space who was trying real hard to push their $497 course or whatever. So I got tons of attention. I generated over the next year, I think I generated like 40 to 50,000 leads. Wow. I went from making nothing because once again, I was starting at scratch in like September, October of 2016 to like September, October of 2017. I had my first $50,000 month. And so it was like, this makes sense to me. Like, all right, we're on social media. Let's attract attention by leveraging a hot opportunity and giving people what they want. And that's value. And, it worked and I rode that train for a couple of years, built up a huge email list. 2018, 2019 started to get into like coaching and consulting and stuff like that, which was fine. Made some money, obviously kept myself in, making money because I quit my restaurant job in 2016. If I didn't already say that. And then I just started like, oh, this is too hard, right? Like it was too hard for me to keep generating a new stream of clients. So I was like, well, let's get back into the affiliate marketing thing. So this is 2020 now when I'm like, I'm going back full force in affiliate marketing in like February 2020. So I learned from my experiences and I was like, okay, what do I need to do? Well, I need to find a hot opportunity where people want to spend money. I need to find a good product with some trust that I can leverage so I can build up my brand. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So I found Legendary Marketer. It was validated. I found people making money. People were searching for it. So I was like, okay, cool. Let's create a new campaign focused around value. Let's create a brand new YouTube channel and let's promote this Legendary Marketer thing. And, as some people might know, it took off. I found TikTok, started making TikToks, driving even more traffic to my automated systems. And probably within the next couple of weeks here, I'll hit $400,000 earned with Legendary Marketer. So I'm really excited. Yeah. And that's just front end stuff. That doesn't count all the back end stuff as well. So I've just been really proven. It's been proven to me time and time again. You got to find a hot opportunity, go where the money's at, and then just differentiate yourself by bringing value to the market and make sure you have intent with your value though. Right. Like 100%. Make sure there's ways to make money on the back end. Right. So that's kind of the whole story in a nutshell there.
Absolutely. And we loved it because that's really going to open it up for a lot more questions. And so with that being said, your journey started in 2016.
2012 is when it started. 2016 is when 2016 is when I went full time.
So 2012 is when you kind of like just took advantage of this opportunity. So with working 60 hours a week or 50 hours a week, whatever you were working at the time, what did that look like for a new beginner? Like if you're to look back now and look at your schedule, what would you do different now to accommodate so it's not so hard? Because we have so many affiliate marketers here right now that are new, that are upcoming, that want to learn, or people that are struggling. And a lot of the time is coming with time. I don't know what to do from one moment to the next because I work a job. So when you started out early and you had to manage that time, what did you specifically kind of focus on so you made sure you had your obligations in order?
Yeah, I mean, that's an absolute great question. And luckily I have the benefit of hindsight now. And so I can really analyze what the difference maker was. Like, and this is what I attribute my eventual success to is, as I mentioned, I pretty much worked like 2:30 in the afternoon until like midnight, maybe 1 or 2 in the morning if it went late. So that was my work schedule for the most part. And that was accounted for. So I'd come home from work, you know, by the time I'd get to bed, maybe it was 2 o'clock, I'd wake up, you know, maybe 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So, you know, getting 6 hours of sleep, which I think is reasonable. And when I woke up, I would spend time with my family. And, you know, this is my new daughter and my wife at the time. So from like 8 to noon, it was family time because I didn't want to lose out on that. Right. Like that's the whole reason we create these opportunities a lot of times for people who have families is to get that time back. But what I found was my daughter at the time pretty much took a nap from noon to 2. And that would give my wife an opportunity to take a nap from noon to 2. So because she was a stay-at-home mom. And I was like, okay, cool. This makes sense. From noon to 1 is going to be my side hustle time. 6 days a week. I was going to take Sunday off. But Monday through Saturday, noon to 1 was my side hustle time. And that was non-negotiable. And having that block of time set aside was the biggest catalyst to my success because it was scheduled. So I couldn't get caught up in like, oh shoot, I forgot I was supposed to work on my side hustle today and I didn't. But also what it did is it reminded me that, hey, when I get home after working a 12-hour shift, I don't have to go try to cram in an extra 30 minutes and just burn myself out because this is a marathon. So that was key. Having that set time. If it's a half hour that you got, fine. If it's 2 hours that you got, fine. But having that set time was perfect for me because that was it. I knew it. And then there was no stress, right? It was like, okay, I'll do as much as I can today. And then I know if I don't get some today, I got noon to 1 o'clock tomorrow and I'll do it. And it might take me a year. Whereas if someone was working 6 hours a day, you know, it might take them 3 months. But you know what? That was my journey. That was my story. And just taking the stress, the worry out of it is just the biggest advice because it forces you to think more long term because you know you only got an hour. You're not going to make $1,000 in an hour, right. Especially if you're just getting started. Like, right. You know, that's a different story now, maybe. But, you know, it's like, I'm not just going to go online and all of a sudden generate $1,000 from in an hour. So it's like, okay, cool. Let's build out systems that eventually will start paying me back.
Absolutely. So you mentally prepared yourself to know going into the situation, knowing that's a marathon, because that's what a lot of people overlook. They try to find that fast money, the quick money. They get frustrated because they may have been enticed by a post or with some kind of income claim or whatever the case may be. They don't see that success. So we need to really mentally prepare people as a beginner, right, for those, like that marathon in a sense, right? It's going to take work. So you were able to basically establish and build a business or a foundation with basically working 2 to 3 hours a day, sometimes less, but 6 days a week. So you maximize your time is what it sounds like through systems, right? Through strategy. So what would a strategy look like for a brand new person, right? Just trying to get into the game, right? Because that's really what the big question is. Like, it's time. I don't have time. You know, all these roadblocks we encounter each day through TikTok because we get our market research really fast. We know what people's problems are. Time is a big thing, right? And then money, of course, but with time. So 2 hours a day, what would that day look like for a brand new affiliate marketer? What would you recommend doing in that 2 hour time period?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think you have to really understand where you're at in the process because it's going to look different in the beginning than it's going to look when you're a month in. So what I mean by that is, you know, there's different quote unquote marketing strategies. You know, some people make a majority of their money networking on places like Facebook, which there's nothing wrong with that. It works. But that's not what I do. So the advice I can give is I'm more of a let's build the systems out. And then let's just, after the systems are built out and optimized, let's just focus on driving traffic to it. So if I was just getting started, I mean, first thing, you got to learn something. You got to learn something first. I mean, it's a non-negotiable. Like the first thing I did when I was getting started, I learned how to create a website on WordPress. And guess what? That probably took me 2.5 weeks. Okay. After that, then I got to start learning how to create graphics for my website. Okay. That probably took me another 3 or 4 or 5 days. Okay. Now I got to start learning how to actually do search engine optimization. So someday I'll rank, you know what I mean? So that took me another 3 to 4 weeks or whatever. And then, okay, now I got to start building backlinks so my blogs get some sort of authority. Well, that's going to take another, ongoing process or whatever. Whereas let's take the current landscape, for example. Let's say your idea is you're gonna build a system and it's going to be maybe just a bridge page website system. Let's just say, for example, you're promoting something like Legendary Marketer and you're going to use short form content. Well, step one is building out the system. Like there's no, I'm not telling people to wait to create content by any means, but like there's no point in sending traffic to a broken system. So let's see, let's figure out like, okay, what do we need to do to build a system first? And, if maybe it's, it's day one is just like, I don't know, like let's figure out how to build a website on ClickFunnels or something like that. And then do as much as you can, but just know, like, don't jump around from thing to thing, right? Like, don't be like, okay, cool, my website's half done. Now let's go spend the next week figuring out how to blow up on TikTok, right? Like do the things in order, but understand like what's required to make money. And that's where the learning comes in. And once you figure out the pieces and then start implementing the pieces and just, like I said, step by step until the pieces are in place. And then once everything's good, then you focus on your traffic. And then after the traffic's starting to come in, that's when you focus on optimizing systems, and then of course follow up as well. So to say like, here's what you got to do day to day, it's really hard to say. But yeah, it just depends on where you're at in the journey. If you're in the beginning, you need to focus on your processes. If you're later down the road, then nothing happens without traffic, right? We need traffic, we need leads, we need people coming in. Unless you're doing the more network thing, or you're doing the, I'm real hands off, so I don't really get into conversations with people. I mean, I'm certainly answering all my emails and stuff like that, but I'm not sitting here trying to like take somebody through the buying process. I rely on my automated system. So yeah, I guess the long story short there is it just depends on where you're at in the journey. Right. But no, I guess the best way to put it is like, if you need 0 to 100 to start making, let's say $1,000 a month, to set a real beginner friendly goal, you don't start making $700 a month when you're 70% of the way there. Like right. You need to get 100% of the way there before you start making money. And then you can start working on scaling. So don't leave systems unoptimized, or don't leave things unaccounted for, I guess is really the story there.
Absolutely. So what I got at really is just basically focus on the fundamentals, learn the tools of the trade in a sense, right? That are required for your craft, and basically work through the whole process rather than skipping around, right? Don't chase the shiny object, right? Simple stuff.
Yeah. In the beginning, just understand you're not trying to make money. You're trying to build systems that make money. You're trying to build processes that make money. And guess what? If you spend enough time and effort screwing those up enough times, eventually you'll figure it out. And guess what? Then you'll make money. And what I've learned over the years is if I'm really like pushing it, like struggling, like something's not right. Because once it clicks, I mean, I kid you not, and I know people watch this, I don't want to send the wrong message. But once it clicks, like making money's easy. But you got to get everything in place, and then it becomes easy. So you got to do the hard work without the money first. You got to get the success comes after the hard work is done.
Yeah, that's the process I didn't take when I first started. I tried to make the money first and didn't learn the process. And I found myself on YouTube chasing shiny objects for 5 months, right? Mm-hmm. Not wanting to really focus on anything in the sort. But so I hold that's absolutely true. So we're gonna
you bring up a good point. If I could just really quickly touch on YouTube. Yeah. That's the problem with the YouTube information spiral of death, as I like to call it. Like when you don't know the whole process yet, you don't know what you don't know. So you end up chasing shiny objects. Yeah. Whereas if you get something that gives you the whole process and then you run into one little problem, that's where YouTube's great, to solve one little problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Like how to install a light fixture or a light socket rather than how to build a house.
100%.
Right.
Yep.
So yeah, absolutely. So we just kind of touched on the beginner aspect of things. Now we have an established schedule. We kind of know what it takes to move the needle in a sense, what we need to really focus on in the beginning. So once we focused on that stuff and we start, we have our systems together, what do you think right now is the best place to generate traffic for free?
Yeah, I mean, short form content is the way to go right now. TikTok is still great. Right now, I'm seeing Facebook Reels as the biggest new opportunity or newer opportunity. Some people have great success with Instagram Reels. I find better success with native Facebook Reels. The cool thing about native Facebook Reels is when you actually create the reel inside Facebook or upload it to Facebook natively instead of having Instagram share it, is you can actually put clickable links in your comments.
Nice.
So you can't do that on TikTok or Instagram, but you can do that on YouTube Shorts and Facebook Reels. So that's huge because that removes a lot of friction. So I focus a lot. I mean, obviously TikTok is still huge. I'm going to ride that train until it's dead. But YouTube Shorts and Facebook Reels, I mean, there's just a huge advantage with them right now. And what I found with YouTube Shorts is a lot of videos don't do all that well, but when one does, I mean, it's stupid. Yeah.
I built my whole YouTube channel on Shorts, like 550 followers or something. And I don't really post on them. So now I was explaining my mastermind the other day on repurposing your content, right? Putting on other platforms, taking one piece of content, basically making it evergreen in a sense, or just splitting it up. So what kind of content strategy would you suggest for a person if they're decent on TikTok and they want to put their content somewhere else? Do you have a specific system or like a repurposing platform you use, or do you manually do it?
Yeah, so I manually do it, but what I started doing differently is I stopped actually shooting the content natively inside TikTok. If you have a phone, you can just use your phone where you're recording your video on the phone. If you want to get into editing, that's cool too. For those who want to kind of get the skills and grow their skill set, I guess I should say, and try to improve their content, like Premiere Pro, which is part of the Adobe suite. Like you can get all the Adobe tools like Photoshop, Audition, which is great for cleaning up your audio a little bit. Premiere Pro, which is an editing software, which, by the way, 2 months ago, I didn't know how to use Premiere Pro. So you just got to learn the process. But yeah, like Premiere Pro is super easy to like create short form vertical style content in. And it just, once you figure it out, it just like moves things along. And the reason I do that is because you can, from the beginning, create content that is, relevant for all 4 platforms, right? So like if you do something on TikTok that works really well for TikTok, for example, let's just give the easiest example. Let's say your call to action on TikTok is, hey, check the link in the bio. Okay, well, if you repurpose that on YouTube or Facebook Reels, that's just not going to make sense because there's really no bio to click over to. There it kind of is on Facebook, but it's not like part of the language that people are familiar with yet. That's what we have to understand. Like we have to speak the language that people are familiar with. So to tell someone to click over to the bio is not going to make much sense, certainly on YouTube Shorts, but not on Facebook Reels. So let's think about what we can do to overcome that before we create the content. So now I started creating content off any platform. I'm actually using a DSLR camera turned vertically or whatever, but you don't have to do that. You can use your phone. It's not a problem. But then what I do is I use my call to action is check out the comments for the next step, because every single short form content platform has comments. So yeah. So if they're on a platform like Instagram, we could say in the first comment, we could say, hey, DM me affiliates to learn more or something like that. If we're on TikTok, we can actually pin a comment on TikTok that says, check the bio to get started. If we're on YouTube Shorts or Facebook Reels, we can actually put the link to wherever we want to send people to clickable right inside the comments. And if you just kind of look at short form content after this, you realize the comments are right there. So that's just making it super easy. And that's the thing, like it's just about, obviously in the beginning, you want to model and see what's working, but it's all about thinking like, okay, what makes more sense? Like what's less friction? What can be the most efficient way to do that? And that's what I found is the most efficient way now to create my content and repurpose it across different platforms. But the final thought is also, like, I don't know, I'm not going to put you on the spot here. I don't know if you want to share this with me after the fact, the recording or not, regardless. But if people share content with me, like say I'm interviewed on Wake Up Legendary or somebody else interviews me, I say, hey, can I get the copy of the video? And they're like, sure. Then guess what? I'm going to cut this up and cut these little sound bites up and just post it across all the platforms as well. Because it's good to have a little combination of both. You want that content that goes quote unquote viral to bring new blood or new leads in or grab new attention. But you also, this type of stuff really goes real far and just like establishing your authority, helping you really create that bond and as someone who is trustworthy with your audience. So it's great to have both types of content. So
Yeah, 100%. So you're just talking about bringing in the new blood, right? Because I look at TikTok, and I said this before, as a bunch of coal, and we're miners, and we have to go mine out the diamonds out of the coal. And so when you put long form content out there after getting the people in off the viral videos or whatever, this is where we nurture them. This is where we build the value. And I know you're considered the king of value in a sense, right? And I'm the second king of value, right? So let's talk about value, right? Let's talk about really value. About is it okay to give something away for free at any time? Like, let's talk about value.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to kind of start with, the TikTok example, let's say you go viral, and let's say, or semi-viral or whatever. I guess it depends on what niche you're in, what viral means. But let's say you go semi-viral, and let's say you get a TikTok that does 10,000 views. Okay, great. You probably generate some leads and think you might get some buyers. That's great, depending on how expensive your front end offer is. And then you create a piece of value content, and it only gets 500 views, let's say. And people get really upset about that. But guess what? Those 500 people are your buyers, And so the people who are paying attention. That's when we want to provide value. But yeah, as far as giving something away for free, I like to talk a lot about value in the sense that it has to be value with purpose. So what I see people do that is a little bit, I don't want to say wrong, but not really efficient, is they'll just go out there and create value and then expect to make sales.
Right.
Whereas, that's just information. Like there's so much information. Like we don't have time to digest value and put it through filters and say, like, is this great? Is this bullshit? Like, we don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what I say is create value that has a purpose. And what I mean by that is we get people, like, I guess the easiest way to think about it is when we create value, whether it's just a piece of content, or if it's like a free ebook or a free course or a free training or whatever. Like I like to create more free value than most people. That way there's some intrigue and it brings people in. Like, instead of creating an ebook, I'll create a free course. Instead of creating a 30-minute training, I'll create a full 10-module course or whatever. But the idea here is where we can't forget, and this is the point of the whole story here, is the value has to bring people 90% of the way to a point where they need to buy the other 10%. Like, we really have to create value with the understanding of, okay, what are we trying to accomplish? We're trying to not deliberately withhold information, but we got to get people confident enough, really is the name of the game, to the point where they're like, okay, I feel good. What's the next step? Okay, go purchase this program. And that's where we have to really think about value. Like, okay, cool. How are we going to get people, but make sure we're focused on the one thing. Like, if we're promoting Legendary Marketer, we want the blueprints to be the one thing that people need. We give them everything else. We show them how to build funnels. We show them how to create TikToks. We show them how to use a hook story offer formula. We show them how to nurture leads through email sequences. But you can't market a product you don't know. So you still got to buy this product. So if you want to use all this cool information that I just gave you, then you got to go buy this thing. And it can be any product. It doesn't matter what it is, but we got to leave that as the one missing piece. And the cool thing here is when we bring people down this path of value and education, they're getting invested, right? Just by investing their time, they're like, well, I've come this far. What's another $2,000? It's not a big deal. I've already spent 3 weeks learning this stuff, so I may as well continue with the process. That's what we really have to do, is get with our value has to get people down the journey. So A, they feel like they have some sort of investment, so they're ready to purchase more. But B, it's really about giving them the confidence in moving forward. Because I always say, people will follow you when they believe in you and what you're saying and the ideas, but they will buy when they believe in themselves. And that's the whole purpose, to get them to believe in themselves that they can actually do this. It will work for them too.
Right. Absolutely. So build the value and make it apparent that anybody can actually legitimately do this. And I found it really powerful. I was able to move people in that direction by using my story. Right. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, because just by your story, right, inspired me. I had a criminal background, but your story inspired me because of all the stuff you went through. Like, 60 hours a week, you started with nothing, knowing nothing, and it started in the beginning, right? So that story there is relevant to people that want to listen, right? Mm-hmm. That actually want the change too. So when we're on TikTok, I try to plant a seed and then water it, right? And so that's the value, I think, is every time I water it, that's just a little bit more value that's going to grow that plant up into a young adult and then finally a tree or whatever, right? Into a shrub. Mm-hmm. But that's the biggest thing, is to try to water with value. And that's how I try to explain it to people, just not to pour it all on, but actually just a little bit at a time. Mm-hmm. Right. So absolutely. Let me see
Yeah,
here.
I like to think of it like this when I'm thinking about value: is what sort of false beliefs do we need to overcome?
Yes.
So, for example, if people are like, "Oh, starting a side hustle is really hard or really expensive," then a piece of value will be like, "No, look, it's just a simple 2-page website that you got to create." Then that's the false belief. Okay, this is easier. Okay, well now I'm going to have to be this expert before I can get people. No, you don't. You just have to tell your story. So here's a story formula.
Yeah.
So I could give people a simple story formula, and that's value. But the purpose of that is to make people understand that they do have a story that will attract people. And if you just
Right.
go out there, you're going to attract people who are kind of just like you. If you have a criminal background, you might attract people who want to better themselves and overcome that criminal background. If you worked in the restaurant industry, then then you're going to attract a lot of people who are a restaurant industry.
Right.
For example, for me, I talk a lot about my children, and that was my big why. Well, guess what? I attract all the parents. You know what I mean? So that
Right.
you attract who you are.
Exactly.
Which is another reason why it's always great to invest in a program you're trying to sell, because you attract who you are, you're not who you want to attract, right? So yeah.
Absolutely, man. Let me see here. I got a couple more good ones. Schedule. Okay, so what do you do? So you've been doing this a long time, and we still hit these valley despairs, and we still hit these walls each day in our business, because if we don't experience some kind of uncomfortable feelings, then we're not growing. So what do you do, or what did you do when you hit these valleys of despairs or these walls of feeling like you can't move forward, or you're just stuck, right? What did you do to like overcome that?
Yeah, it really depends on the situation, because unfortunately, sometimes you're doing stuff and you feel stuck because it's not the right thing. So you just got, and it's hard, like when you're just getting started, like it's hard to know, like, is this going to work or not? Luckily, once you've had a whole bunch of failures and a few successes, you start to become able to identify patterns. But let's assume that you're doing something that, I'm going to use the word simple, but don't confuse it with easy. Right. Let's say you're doing something simple like promoting Legendary Marketer. Okay. The process is proven. Okay. Nothing's being hidden, right? Like there's not anything you don't see. You just gotta figure out the process. So let's say you're doing something like that. Once again, simple, not necessarily easy. Okay, cool. Then it works. There's systems that have to be in place. There's systems that have to be optimized. You got to get content. You got to get views. So like, okay, but the bottom line is, let's say you gotten yourself to a point where it works, but you start to hit that valley of despair because you're not seeing results.
Right.
One thing that I have found that helps me is try to create a positive feedback loop. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're trying to create all this value, and you're trying to create all this value content. You're trying to draw people into your funnel so they go buy the stuff you're selling, right? That's the ultimate goal. But it's just not happening. Okay, well, what can we do? Well, let's try to get ourselves out of the valley of despair where we're starting to get a little pessimistic. Let's reach out, let's dive a little deeper, and let's try to get a little positive feedback. So what we can do is, let's say at this point, we probably have at least a few followers, maybe hopefully generate at least a couple emails. Like, just reach out and over deliver. Like, be like, hey, listen, I just want to help 3 people. I got a free Zoom call, an hour call. If you want that hour clarity call, get on. And is that going to make you any money? Maybe, but probably not. But maybe, but you never know. But anyways, but what happens here is people will come on that call, and you can help provide them with a little bit of clarity, even if you're not an expert yet. You're probably a little bit further along than they are. And what's going to happen is you're going to see their reaction, and you're going to start to think, okay, wait, I can help people. Okay, cool. So then it gives you kind of the motivation. It's kind of like a motivation game, but motivation has to come from within. We can't rely on money and big high ticket commissions to give us the motivation, because it doesn't work like that. It has to come from within. So it's like, okay, cool, I can help people. So that kind of motivates you to create maybe a little bit better content. And then, so what's going to happen is maybe a value video that all of a sudden resonate with people and generate a lot more leads. Now that's another piece of positive feedback. Then you can get more leads come in, and it's like, okay, now we can figure out like which emails are being opened. And you can say, well, here's these 3 emails that are being opened, and these 3 aren't. What's the difference? And then, so we just keep going and just getting more positive feedback that's not monetary. And then at some point, you're going to be like, okay, I'm good at this. I can do this. And guess what? Then the commissions start coming through, and it's like, there's your validation for the whole thing. It's like, okay, cool. And then you're out of the valley of despair. Now it's just, working on your craft and optimizing and growing.
Right. So it's just basically, I don't know, it's like just building that value back in yourself, right?
Yeah, just finding small wins, like whatever you have to do to find them. Like, so I'm creating something right now that I hope is going to be pretty big, and it's really hard. So you get to that point where you're in the valley of despair and you're like, oh, maybe I should just go back to affiliate marketing because I've mastered affiliate marketing. And I'm like, no, that's the valley of despair talking. Okay, what do I get to do? Generally, it's not forcing the things that aren't working. It's trying something a little bit different. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, let's run a 14-day challenge and let's make it free and let's just see if I can help more people. And once again, it just builds the belief back in you, because first you start to feel better, and then all of a sudden maybe, hey, you're getting like small wins for these people, and they're like, holy crap, this is the first time I've ever generated 10 leads in a day. And then it's like, oh yeah, this is going to work. We just got to keep going and just have some informed optimism at this point.
So basically, when a person's in a valley of despair, best thing to do at that time is like actually help somebody. By helping somebody, right? By helping somebody, I'm totally getting this. By helping somebody, it's going to show your worth back to you, because maybe we get complacent, right? Mm-hmm. And so by that person maybe smiling, or you maybe overcome a roadblock for that person or help them throughout their day, it's going to inspire you to move forward because it just gave you more confidence.
100%. Because if you're out there and your goal is to make money and you're doing all those things and you're not making money, you're going to start to feel pretty crappy about yourself. Just like anything. Like if your goal was to go hit a baseball and you swung and missed 10 times, you'd start to feel pretty crappy about yourself. So maybe we should try bunting instead. You know what I mean? Be like, okay, yeah, I can put the bat on the ball. All right, let's try again. And you really have to build yourself back up. And once again, it has to all come within. You can't worry about outside validation to give you the momentum and the motivation, but you can trick it, right? Like by setting your goals lower. My goal is just to help one person have one breakthrough and say one nice thing to me or whatever, or say thank you. You know what I mean? And do whatever it takes to get that.
Absolutely, man. That's powerful stuff. Super powerful. I'm gonna take not a little break, but if anybody has any questions right now for Brian, for me, for anything, please drop them in the comments. And if you guys are inside of StreamYard right now, I can't see your profile picture. It's because you didn't go to StreamYard.com /Facebook and actually like register. So if you do that, then I'll be able to see your comments, but go ahead and feel free to ask. Let me see here. I just have a few more things for you, brother. So once we get the ball rolling and we start seeing some traction and stuff like that, how do we keep this thing moving forward? Right?
Yeah.
How do we keep the motor running? Like, do we just keep it in TikTok, or do we need to move our people to somewhere else like Facebook or something? What is the strategy behind that? How do we keep going?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, it's not all, like, more platforms are not always better. There is a lot of value in creating that omnipresence to really kind of establish you. And what I mean by that, like if someone sees me on TikTok and they come to my email list, they might open my email, they might not. But if they're also seeing me on Instagram or Facebook, that's going to actually, what people, it's hard to see when you're first beginning, is by them seeing me on multiple platforms, that's actually increasing the open rate of my emails, right? Because they saw me on TikTok, now they see me on Facebook, they're like, oh yeah, Brian sent me a message this morning, I better go read it. So that's the thing that's hard to see when you're first getting started, is how it all does come together. So yes, absolutely important to start creating that omnipresence and really grow your brand. Like, but when you're kind of before that stage where you're starting to get some momentum, obviously you need to continue creating and trying to advance your content. Don't forsake what works, right? Like, don't get, like, what I see is sometimes people like, oh man, I'm great, I'm getting all those views, I'm an expert now, I'm going to go create all value. And they forget, like, oh, you still need to bring new people in. So every now and then you got to put those clickbaity things out there. It's just part of the game. But really you have to, at that point, continue creating. Obviously got to keep going. Like, in this business, and I think most people are kind of in the same business where we're promoting education products or our own courses or other, like, we're not in the information business. We're in the leadership business, right? Like, we're in the business of leadership. And it's just the fact that, hey, guess what? The leader has to show up more than they expect the followers to. So if I expect my followers to show up for 30 minutes a day, then I better be working on my business, either creating or behind the scenes for an hour a day, because how can I expect someone to do more work than me? So that's part of it as well. Not to say you can't enjoy some success and take the, not foot off the gas, because that's bad advice, but just like, okay, cool, I know it's working. You can be efficient for a little while, but understand you're in the leadership business, so you got to really push on. But then after it's like, okay, things are starting to work, then it's really about optimizing systems on the back end. Like keep creating content, but like, let's say I'm generating 50 leads a day. It's a lot easier to take those 50 leads and get twice as many conversions out of those 50 leads by optimizing my systems than to automatically or all of a sudden get 100 leads a day. You see what I'm saying? It's easier to 2x your conversions than it is to 2x your traffic. You still need traffic because otherwise you're going to run through your established audience and everybody's going to buy. So you still need traffic, but focus on optimizing the back end. How can I increase conversions efficiently? And, you know, it might be something like, hey, if I'm spending 10 hours a day on Zoom, how do we take some of those common objections that I get and how do we automate more of the process, right? So like, that's my ultimate goal is like, how can I first figure out what objections people have, what concerns they have, which false beliefs they have by actually talking to people first and foremost when you're first getting started. And then it's like, oh, shoot. Okay, cool. This is the same 6 things that everyone wants to know. So let's build that into an email sequence. And when you can kind of like get inside the conversation that's already going on inside their head before they even voice it's like you automatically overcome their objections. They're like, man, this guy understands me or this girl understands me. I'm going to buy. And that's when the magic really happens.
100%. All right, we got a question here. Best tip for beginners?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just, you know where you are in the process, but if you're a beginner and you're in affiliate marketing, let's just use this as an example. Like we have a huge advantage. We can start with the proven product, right? So start with the proven product. Like find a product that you can resonate with. Find a product that is selling, right? People are making commissions with. Like don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to find this big blue ocean nobody's talking about. That it's really hard to do that way. Find something that's working and then start with a product and then reverse engineer everything backwards. Okay, we got this product that's working. Dive into the product. That means buying it. If you're in that position, great, buy into it and start learning the language that is being used. Go through the sales copy of the product that you're promoting and try to identify like, okay, what buzzwords are being used? What language is being used? What calls to action are being used? Okay, cool. Now that's proven. We know that's proven. I guarantee that product or that product creator has spent time and effort optimizing their systems. So now what's the step before that? Well, our pre-sale. And that's, you know, our Bridge Page website, our videos, if we have them on our Bridge Page, our email follow-up. Okay, how do we make that congruent with what we know is already working? So this product has a sales process. What do people need to hear before they get there to be receptive to it? And then after we have that, okay, cool. Then we go back to content. What sort of things, you know, first of all, what kind of people are we looking for? And what sort of things do people need to hear? So they're going to come over and see something that kind of lights them up once they get to our Bridge Page. And then once you have that, you have a congruent campaign. And that's how things start to work really well.
All right, next one. Do you have a process or resource for email copying campaigns? Yeah, it's Brian. He writes his own. Yeah,
I mean, the number one thing there is practice. I mean, just do it. Like practice. I mean, there's 100 people selling courses on email marketing and story formulas and stuff like that. But really what's going to happen is you're just going to write emails and sometimes people are going to respond to them very positively. And a lot of times they're not. You're not going to get clicks. You're not going to get. So start just like dissecting like what's working. And the thing is you can learn everything there is about email marketing, but until you actually just start writing, like you're not going to get good at it. And it's always just a process. Like you just get better and better. Like I'm not an expert email marketer, but I'm a lot better than I was 6 years ago. And that's just from practice. And what I always say is like, let's build out our system. Let's have some sort of automated system, whether it's a 7-day sequence or a 14-day sequence. Let's have that in place first. And then what we want to do is after people go through that, let's say initial sequence, then we want to continue to send them emails. Right. And that's the thing. Like once you get a good enough sequence in place, focus on emailing the people who have exited that sequence, right? They've already been on your list for more than 14 days because that's traffic right there. That's the easiest form of traffic there is. And people neglect that all the time. Like they focus on just driving more leads to the 7-day system or sequence. And then, they forget about the 10,000 people that are already on their list that aren't receiving daily emails or at least 3 times a week. I think a good start is like every other day, email your list and just do it. Like sit down and like tell a story or overcome an objection. That's a big one. Or show social proof somehow through the form of a story, or tell somebody else's story, or dive deeper into your story, and just like have a call to action. Like, don't be afraid. Like, if people unsubscribe from your list, they probably weren't going to buy anyway. So you know what? It's just going to save you money in the long run. So, I'm not saying you're trying to sell, but like, there's nothing wrong. Like, have a call to action. Maybe someone's going to be ready to buy, and it better be there. Otherwise, they're not going to go search it out.
Absolutely, 100%. Great advice. Great advice. So Benny says, what do you do when you lose motivation?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta first of all just really be honest, and is what I'm doing have potential? Because like I said, when we're talking about simple processes like Legendary Marketer, we know it has potential. But if you're trying to do something else, like really ask yourself, like my first blog, right? Like I told you, like I worked really hard on it, and I was making $600 a month, which was fine, but like that's not at that point, I was probably making $1 an hour. But anyways, the point I'm getting at is like, all right, I got to be realistic. This is not going to work. Like, there's no sense trying to force this thing to the 10 grand a month I want to quit my job or whatever. All right. So you got to be honest with yourself first. And if you start something new like that, that's certainly, going to motivate you, but don't start something new too early. Like if you're like, oh no, I know this is going to work. Then, like we were talking earlier, I mean, you just got to find ways to give yourself motivation from within. If that's positive feedback loops, if that's getting and actually trying to help someone, hey, even if that's going in somebody else's Facebook group and just trying to add value by answering questions, like that's the easiest way. Like go into someone else's Facebook group who's relevant to your niche, and don't try to like get them to DM you, just help them. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and that's gonna be like, all right, cool, that works. And what happens there also, kind of my last thought on this is also when you see like people like, yeah, that really helped. Now you have a skill to help people in that way. So, for example, the first coaching program I started like back in like 2018 after the affiliate marketing initial success, like I went in there thinking I was going to teach people all this cool ninja shit, right? Like, oh man, here's the stuff. But what I really found out through doing that coaching is that the biggest thing I could provide people with was clarity. And so now it's like, oh, this is what people really want and need. This is what moves the needle. And that's how you can find those things out. When you start actually helping people, you're going to see, oh, like people really resonate with this. Then you can build that into your campaigns automatically. And it's going to like, man, this person is awesome. This person really gets it. This person really, really can help me. And once they start to believe that, they believe in you and they believe in themselves, that's when they're going to go buy.
100%.
So yeah, it goes back to helping people.
Yeah, it's what it's all about, man. I since I started this journey, pretty much I help at least one person a day for free. If that's jumping on a Zoom call, and it just keeps the needle moving, and it does inspire me. So now that you said that, I'm looking at it a whole different angle now. So I'm picking up a lot of value on this call, man. All right.
Just to kind of touch on that really quickly, this is also a useful tactic for people who are like scared to create content, right? So this is a big problem. People are like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Am I going to look silly on camera? Guess what? That's because you feel that way because you're thinking about yourself. You're worried about what people are going to say about you. But if you go into this with the whole like mentality of like, okay, here's this cool new thing I learned, I'm going to share it. Then you're focusing on serving, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're focused, and you don't have that like, what are people going to say about me? Because that's what it all is. It's just fear that's creating you from creating content. So if you're gonna be like, my intention is to help people, you don't give a crap anymore, and you just go out there and do it.
100%. We got somebody from Ohio. It says the emails continue and be fluid. Perfect. So Brian, this is a great interview, man. I'm gonna let you lead us out. But where can we find you? Actually, what do you have going on right now? I know you're with Legendary, kind of, right, in a sense, but then you're also doing something with what you have going on. I want to hear about that.
So I'm actually building out some stuff right now. It's a course and coaching program. I'm not trying to sell it right now. What the lead into that is what I'm promoting right now is my free 90-minute affiliate challenge. Okay. It's 9 modules, 10 minutes a piece. And really it's designed to show you how to do affiliate marketing the way I do it, right? There's multiple ways to do affiliate marketing. If you go through that and resonate with that, you're like, this is what I want to do. Yeah, there's obviously other opportunities to get in touch with me, to do group coaching that I offer and stuff like that. But I'm not trying to sell that right now because I want people to go through there and see if they're a good fit first. And at the very least, if you go through that 90-minute affiliate challenge, you're going to get some value out of there. I promise you that. And if you're like, that's cool, but it's not my style, no worries. And if it is, you can go from there and do your own thing. You can go take what's taught. It's actionable. It's not like theory. You can actually take what's taught in there and really apply it to any sort of product or niche or something like that. So yeah, that's the cool thing right now. And then beyond that, I'm on social media. So like if you have any questions for me specifically after the fact, just tag me in the comments wherever this shows up, and I'll hopefully see them. And I'm around. If you can't find me, I'm not doing a very good job at marketing. So
all right, you're around for sure. Just getting in contact with you is one thing, right? But yeah. So Brian Brewer, 7-figure earner, man, it was a pleasure to have you on here today. 100%. You guys can find him on Facebook, Brian Brewer, right? And then the affiliate escape plan.
Yeah, the affiliate escape plan is more of the premium program, but yeah, like I said, the 90-minute affiliate challenge is the best place to start. And it's just 90, the number 90-minute affiliate challenge. You can probably Google it. Hopefully it'll show up number 1. And that's a great place to start. And I answer my emails too, so reach out to me.
Perfect, brother.
But thanks for having me on, Eric. Thanks for everybody who tuned in. It's just always a pleasure.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Hey, and thank you guys. If you guys are catching us on the live, #replay. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, Brian. And man, it's been great, guys. Thank you guys out there for watching. All 22 of you guys staying on the whole time. And touch with Brian. Get in contact with Brian if you have any questions.